Hey, it's your girl Go Queen with the Q Chat podcast. Thank you for tuning in to our latest episode. Before we get started, I want to give you some information on how you can grab some Q Chat merchandise. Go to www.goqueen.com and there you can purchase any Q Chat merchandise or any of my Go Love Yourself tees. So go ahead, take a look at the website and feel free to grab some merchandise today. There's something else I want to fill you guys in on. If you haven't heard, Anchor is the hottest and easiest way to make a podcast. It's the best price in the world, free. So go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And just remember, Anchor distributes your podcast to all streaming platforms. It's super simple. So go ahead and sit back and get ready to listen to the next episode of the Q Chat. But don't forget, go to www.goqueen.com and grab some merchandise. Thank you for tuning in and get ready to listen in. Go Queen! All right, so we're recording a new episode of the Q Chat. I'm with my podcast partner in crime, Miss Courtney Podgy.
Hey, what's going on, quarantine queen?
Right, so I'm glad you said that. This is definitely taking place during the COVID-19 quarantine series, I should say. Like, I've literally been recording podcasts like all day. So even though some of these podcasts won't be published until weeks down the line, this is still during the quarantine period. So don't get it twisted. So we're staying and washing our hands. So Courtney
Right.
and I, for people that are regular listeners, if you may notice, we tend to have like this great thing that happens when me and Courtney and I start talking. We'll end up thinking of another podcast idea during a recording. So one thing that we kept touching on was the cancel culture. So we're finally going to get to it. And Courtney and I were going to have a conversation on the whole idea of canceling people. You know, me and Courtney, we have very strong opinions on that. So where do you want to get started with this, Miss Courtney? I know one of the first people we can definitely, I already know who we're going to use as an example early on because she tends to be a subject in a lot of our episodes.
I know, Miss Oprah Kalisha Winfrey.
Yes. Oprah Shaquan Winfrey.
I mean, and people forget the Daquan in her middle name.
Mm-hmm.
Oprah has come from very humble, if not meager, beginnings.
Oh, yes.
And I don't think she's forgotten the people, forgotten the struggle, or anything like that. I think a lot of that comes her way is unwarranted. I really do. I think what happens, what kind of coincides with cancel culture is the social media tendency to create myths that seem true but are heavily unfounded. And I don't necessarily believe that beyond what people, kind of post and string together as this, look at the evidence. I don't believe that Oprah inherently is someone against Black people, her own people. I think if you do something in the public eye for 20 or 30 years, you can probably pick one thing from 1984, one thing from 2002, and one thing from 2020 and say, oh, look, she's always doing that.
Right.
I just, I'm just not a fan of I think it amounts to bullying to me, that some people have jumped on a bandwagon and it kind of spirals and avalanches, and now all of a sudden such and such is such a bad person. And I think cancel culture and all that is born out of social media giving people the gumption to think that their opinion matters so much. And I guess if you get 240,000 opinions together, it seems like it's the truth.
I agree. Let me barrel back a bit for anyone that listens who they may be like, wanting to know exactly what we mean regarding cancel culture. Um, we live in a society now, as Courtney mentioned, with social media, definitely, where I feel like a person makes one mistake or what people view as a mistake or just something that's unpopular, and everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon, as you mentioned, and quote unquote cancel them, just not look back at the body of work that people have done, their accomplishments, their achievements, things that have put them in a stellar category. No one considers that. They just look at one little thing and they're like, oh, we're done with them, which is ridiculous. So,
Mm-hmm.
of course, mentioning Oprah, it boggles my mind, and it amazes me that she's such a controversial subject. But part of me, I wonder if it's also a millennial thing, because you and I, like I said, with the other podcast we discussed, I grew up watching her. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
different from me. Like, I knew of Oprah before all these other people did. You know what I'm saying? I remember a time when the Oprah Winfrey Show was not airing. So, and as a child, a young black girl in New Orleans, there was no other black talk show host at the time. I grew up where there was Donahue, there was Sally Jesse Raphael,
Mm-hmm.
Waldo, there was no
Maury when he was doing real talk show and not
Jerry
paternity
Springer,
test.
and even Jerry Springer, once again, which is a generational thing. For young kids don't know, Jerry Springer's show actually was extremely serious at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
was coming up. It just transformed into what it turned into. But I remember when that show first started, and he had some extremely serious topics. I mean, the little girl, Dia Broadbent, the HIV survivor, she's like a grown woman now. I first
Mm-hmm.
learned of her on the Jerry Springer show. She was a small
Mm-hmm.
child, with AIDS at the time, so he was very serious. So for me, for Oprah, when she came on the scene, it was like, wow, it was this black woman, with not so sharp features, number one, regular hair, and, air quotes, and black women
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't this standard that we tend to put out there, light skin, light and bright. No, she was a brown
Mm-hmm.
skinned woman, sister with, round features on top of that. Okay, she didn't have this perfect body, and her name sure wasn't common at all. Oprah, you
Right.
know. Um, so it was like, wow. I mean, I still remember the theme song. Dun, 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 dun. It's like you know what I'm saying. So it was like, wow. And as a kid, VCR time, when it wasn't the summertime, we would record the Oprah Winfrey Show and watch it when we got home. So
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's also a generational thing. I think these young people can easily talk about her because they didn't grow up with her. And I just think it's a shame, and it just amazes me that she's literally involved in so much controversy now. There's another
Well,
controversy.
the funny thing is, I feel like it is older people doing the attacking because the young people really don't know her. I feel like when I'm going through comments, it's older people saying stuff like, "Oh, she's always been like that. Y'all don't know," and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, wait a minute,
You have a
you
good,
know.
because a prime example, which you're right about that, is because of thinking about the whole Kobe Bryant situation when it was Gail actually that did the faux pas. Everyone was just like jumping on Oprah too, like she had nothing to do with that interview.
Mhm.
And you're right, because obviously Snoop is our age or older or whatever. I mean, these are people that grew up at the same time period as we did. And that goes back to my frustration in people ignoring a person's body of work. It's just,
Mhm.
it just boggles my mind, like, why are you so fixated on these recent events, and why are you also forgetting that whether you agree or disagree with the Finding Neverland documentary, or with her wanting to do the piece on Russell Simmons, or whatever people's opinions are of her and Harvey Weinstein, which that has, when I say that's like,
That gets under my skin.
oh
Oh.
God, and it bothers me, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that everyone's so wrapped up in this now that they've forgotten about the fact that she was like one of the first Black women, to be a national talk show host.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a
And to
household.
tackle tough issues, to bring
Yes.
racists to her stage and give them the head and the finger,
And she's always
and
been extremely transparent. Just the thing that she's done for sexual abuse victims. How many
mm-hmm,
stars do you know
mm-hmm.
to this day have been that transparent? You know what? How much that was for a woman to go on national television and say I was sexually abused, and then on top of that by one of my family members. I mean,
And I think when it comes to Oprah, I can also correlate something else we talk about too, and that is when someone is giving Black women a voice, like really giving Black women a
yes,
voice, everyone has a freaking fit
yeah,
because Black women dare to say something. And I think for some of the men that are always like, she always been down in Black men, I think they're bringing it back to Oprah being one of the first people to highlight toxic behavior
mm,
in relationships as it relates to how men treat women. And Oprah being like, girl, you don't have to stay, get up, girl, and bye.
right.
You don't have to stay with anyone who doesn't respect you, who doesn't see you for the person you are, not just the woman you are, but the whole human being. And I think they have parlayed that into, well, she always down in brothers. And, to a point, it's like, well, so that must mean you're acknowledging that you're toxic. Because if you felt downed by that, then that meant you were the thing she's talking about.
Right.
But I think they have parlayed that whole entire narrative into she's always down in Black men and have tried to correlate that to, Kobe Bryant or Russell Simmons.
But here's the funny thing. What has she ever said? And if someone knows something, if people listen and they want to correct me, go right ahead. Just be kind about it. That's my new thing. But name me one instance where she has said anything to lump all Black men in one category. I can't think of anything because guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson does not represent all Black men to me. Russell Simmons does not represent all Black men to me. So
Right, right.
what the hell? And then the funny thing is, one thing that I find to be very weird is the people that everyone's up in arms about is people that are involved in some level of sexual assault. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
scary that men are going this hard to defend
Right,
people.
for rapists.
Correct, to defend men who have been accused of sexual assault. You choose to attack the woman who's trying to find the truth in this instead of
Right.
being angry at the men who may or may not, regardless if you've been accused of something of that nature, that's something serious.
Mm-hmm.
They never take any fault with them. It's just how dare they bring that up? It's like, are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean,
Like, so when you say
it's
bring,
really.
I mean we shouldn't bring it, or inherently something's wrong. We just shouldn't talk about it. Like, it's just ridiculous.
I just I can't understand it. Like I really can't, and it goes to why the whole hashtag Me Too was even born
Mm-hmm.
because women not having a voice, women were not being defended and protected as they should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
because of this right here, if a woman speaks up, it seems like the men, the people who are being accused are more protected than the accusers. It
Absolute.
just
Mm-hmm.
make any sense, So I literally don't understand it. And just also to pick something else that you mentioned in your earlier comment, I also agree that social media to me is where cancel culture even started. It's
Absolutely.
just, because people get real bold on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
hiding their face and they're hiding their hands so they can say and do whatever they want to do, and it just emboldens people to just. And also when you said being a bully, 100% right, it just gives people just this power that they should not have, and
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's ridiculous, it's disgusting, and I know like us even discussing this, It's very controversial.
Absolutely.
Okay, because I still keep running across things that's negative against Oprah. It's
Mm-hmm.
just
And Gail.
when we,
And Gail.
yeah, yes, when we do the next current events episode, I'm really at the point where I'm thinking like every current events episode that we do, we're gonna literally have an Oprah segment because that's how much she's been trending. Which I'm not gonna bring up the trending topic in this particular episode because I'm gonna save it for the next
Okay,
current
well,
events
and
episode.
I'll say why I unfriended someone just 2 days ago over something Oprah and Gail.
Oh my god,
Hmm.
when will this end? like, like when will it end? So what happened with that? Like, what did they say in particular?
It was a picture that they posted that was just so
Ugh.
disgusting, ridiculous, demeaning, and unwarranted that I was just like, yeah, you the type of person I can't even come across again. I'm gonna make sure I don't come across you again. You know. So that's one thing I can say about social media is just as quick as you were here, you can be gone too, and I'll never have to think about you again. So, shout out for that. I can cancel you.
Honestly, I know someone had reached out to me about recording an episode with me, and I looked at that person's particular page, and I'm wondering because I haven't reached them back yet. Like I was trying to schedule something and had been behind on different things, and once I finally had some time, I can't reach them, and I wonder if maybe they, and I did tell them you need to listen to my episodes first because
Right.
we I don't care. Like this is my damn podcast, so I don't have to say a popular opinion.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mhm.
and that's not me. That's the whole purpose. Like I'm not going to give a popular opinion, and unfortunately, I feel like people riding for Oprah is not popular, which I think is sad. But
Right. Right.
I'm not going to bend a fold for anybody. You can choose not to listen. It's not a problem.
Mhm.
So and I did tell this person, make sure you listen to my episodes first because I'm saying to myself, it's a possibility I've probably said some things that you may not agree with. And even though, here's the thing, also a disclaimer, you don't have to agree with me to be on this podcast.
Right.
At,
Right.
but some
At
people
least
still involved.
know what you're getting into when you do. Yeah.
Correct. Right. So I wanted to put that out there, like listen first, because this isn't, you know, the Sister Girl podcast where I just agree with everything. Nah, sorry, that's not me. That's not my personality, and I'm a ride for Oprah. Sorry, and that's one thing with the whole cancel culture. Just like we mentioned Beyonce, for example. I don't dislike Beyonce actually. Okay, I'm one of the few people. I know a lot of people didn't like when she did Before I Let Go. Like, how dare she touch a Frankie Beverly and Mays song? 'Cause New Orleans, we love Frankie Beverly and Mays. I was one of the few people that was like, I actually liked the song, which I was
Courtney
shocked.
slowly raises her hand as one of the Frankie purists.
But like I actually liked it because I was at an event once and they played it. You know how some songs you may listen to on the radio and you like, yeah, but then you
Hmm.
add something and they play it and you're like, okay. So I
I've had
had
that happen.
right. So I had one of those moments. I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, I can get down with this. So, but am I part of her beehive? No. Okay.
No.
So what I feel her beehive is she can do absolutely no wrong. They like every single thing she does and blah blah blah, and you better not dislike
And it
nothing she.
makes you an automatic hater. And it's to the point where there are songs of hers that I like, and then somebody be like, "Oh, you like a Beyonce song?" I'm like, you know what? That right there is why you think I don't like why you think I don't like a Beyonce song, because
Mm,
you have been such the antagonist
right,
anytime we engage with it, that you have built up in your mind that I hate her so much I can't like a song. And I never said that. All I've ever really said was things like, I don't believe in all the hype. It's not all that, people just act like they're about to faint because I said that, and I must hate her, and I must this, that, and the third.
right.
And I guess I did have this like kind of unhealthy crush on Jay at one point. So that was a sore point. But other than that, so it's just like, how we've talked about before, we can disagree or not totally be in the boat that you're in and still be okay. It doesn't make you a hater. People don't have to
Right.
cancel us just
Right.
because we
Ex-
aren't, going to the church of B.
And I'm glad you dived into that. And that's why I brought her up as an example. Because I feel like if we, and when I say we, us, black people, us, my culture, okay, and that's one of the things, like one of the taglines about this podcast. It is centered around women, obviously, but it's also for the culture, air quotes, for us, what we're accustomed to. So why is it I feel like with us, why can't we disagree with certain things? I think that's what this all boils down to. Why can't
Mm-hmm.
we agree to disagree? Why can't I say I'm a fan of so and so, but I may not rock with every single thing they do? Doesn't mean I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, why the hell do we do that? I feel like the white community doesn't do that. Like, I just feel like they can like and dislike certain people. I don't think I really find I don't think if a white woman says I don't care for Kim Kardashian that people start coming out from behind the corner
Right. Like,
words
what you
like
mean?
Thriller. You know what I'm saying? They don't start coming out of nowhere like Thriller and
Right.
attack her. But I feel like us, if we say, oh, I don't really care
I
for
mean, Beyonce's all right. Ooh, like even
like
that. Oh
what?
yeah, she's all right. What?
You like
Yeah,
it's like what? It's just like what is the problem? Like you
yeah.
can
Right.
like somebody and not like ride or die for them. I mean, it doesn't make you a hater, and that's the thing that I'm not understanding. Do you feel that our culture puts extra pressure on one another just in general to
To
like it?
conform? Yeah, absolutely. Look, I had a discussion with my older cousin about this very topic, about Beyonce, and I said I thought Rihanna looked better.
Mm.
And
Did she kill you? No,
he had
did
a
y'all
fit.
blow?
Oh, you just a hater. Oh, what you mean? Oh, whatever. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't say she was ugly by any means. Matter of fact, I think she's nice looking and I think she's thick in the right places, all that good stuff. I do. But to me, it's just something about Rihanna. I don't know. I just think and I hate to bring this up, but when Chris leaked them pics of her, and I saw how thick she really was. I was like, oh, Rihanna, girl,
Right,
So
right,
I just was like, I just think she's finer than Beyonce. I think that's just my thing. People have their thing. And he
right.
refused to accept that. Oh, heck no. I said, wait, before we go any further, why can I have my own opinion? Why am I a hater only when I don't agree with you? Well, I'm not saying that, but you crazy. You hating this time. I'm like, no, 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 no.
Oh my
Why
god.
am I a hater when I don't agree with you? Why can't I just have my opinion? And that's where I fall off with folks. I'm a hater only when I don't agree with you. When I agree with you, I'm the best thing in the world. Oh, you know what you're talking about. And that's what gets under my skin. When is it okay to just have my own opinion? Especially when it differs from yours.
Then on the flip side, like I know this guy, used to be Facebook friends with him. When I say he could not stand Beyonce, to me, I thought it was like, now see that he was a situation where I think the Beehive should have came for him because it was overboard. I'm like, damn, like what the hell did she do to you? It's like you couldn't
Right.
say like anything involving her and he'd have a fit, and I'm like, so it's just strange. He was on the opposite end of the spectrum where I'm just like, damn, like I feel like you couldn't like anything that's even remotely popular. Or, he had to be, put on his snobby Von Pons, like you just, like, how dare you like this? It's like, it's not even that serious. I
It's
just feel like
not.
we can't win for losing. It's just like, give me a break. But I just feel like we just put too much pressure on us in general. Like if we like something too much, oh no, like really? And if we just disagree with just one little thing a person does, if they're popular, we don't conform to it, and like every single thing that they do, you just a old hater. You wish you had.
Mhm.
Give me a break. Like it's
Girl,
serious.
It's not that serious. Now, here's something another thing I want to bring up about the broader topic of cancel culture, because I think we're going to have to contend with this as well.
Mm,
And so I think of Kevin Hart and the comments he made about gays in particular, but we'll say the LGBT community.
mm-hmm.
When is someone forgiven? And I think contending with forgiveness can get repeated cancellations, right?
Mm,
So, you know, he said it at a time when it was okay to say it. That just is what it is. Everybody
right.
laughed, everybody went on about their business. Someone dredged up the old footage and stuff. He apologized. For some people, he didn't apologize well enough. And see, that's
Right.
my point. When is it, when either we forgive or we don't, and we have to establish that somehow. And I say to Kevin Hart's credit, that second time he was like, you know what, I ain't apologizing again. And he even pseudo did it anyway. He couldn't help it in his speech, but
Mm.
I kind of admire him for being like, look, I said it. It came back to bite me. I apologize and I'm moving on. I don't know about y'all, but y'all not gonna keep holding over my head every time, my career can take another step, or every time it seems that I can move forward. Y'all want to bring that up as a way to keep it down, and I'm not gonna let y'all do that. And I admired that. But at the end of the day, it brings up the question of, do we ever forgive? Or that thing you said in 1996, are we gonna allow that to always stand in your way and bring you down?
But I think that's the problem. It's like we don't allow people to make mistakes and be human. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad you brought that up too, because that is another thing that I think, and once again, it's social media. It's just like this is a crazy, bizarre time where people will bring up something you said a decade ago, with
Mm-hmm.
and times have changed. Back in the day, things were more loose as far as humor. First of all, I'm not gonna lie, and I could, like I said, people don't have to agree with what I'm saying. I feel like with comedians though, that's part of their craft, especially certain comedians. They're gonna say things that are blue, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing. I feel bad for the comedy world now because I feel like it's damn near
You
back
can't
to
say
when,
a thing.
but it goes damn near back to when Lenny Bruce, struggled because they were all on him about what he said. Now we're like reverting back to that time where it's like, as a comedian, you got to watch every single thing you say because once
Mm-hmm.
again, they will cancel you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they as in, the proper police. If you say something that's a little bit off, but like I said, once again, I feel like that is their job. Comedians ruffle feathers. Comedians also, to me, are social commentators. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's like you got to watch what you say, or you got to be worried that they'll pull up something you said a damn decade ago, or maybe even 20 years ago, and blow it out of proportion and just be like, it is. I feel like when they pull stuff from like 10 or 20 years ago, for comedians, I'm not talking about people. They pulled up, you raped some damn body. Like, don't. I'm not talking about them. Like, that's a little different.
Right.
You are guilty, but people who have just made certain comments, they'll pull it up, and I think they're pulling it up with the whole ammo.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they said cancel them. Like that's the whole purpose of them doing it.
And
They
it's
want you to
kind of like the biggest act of haterism too. Like you said, in certain circumstances, if you did, certain heinous things, I don't care what decade it was in, yes, you're canceled, you're everything else, you're going to jail. But when it comes to things like comments like that, but then I can throw a monkey wrench in that too, because when it comes to some of the racist things that are said,
uh,
and they come back for, like, for instance, the Prime Minister Trudeau in Canada,
mm,
a well-liked guy. People think he's fine, handsome,
mm-hmm,
he's young, he's progressive, but college picture brought up blackface at a
right,
blackface party. You
right,
know, does he get the forgiveness? Does his track record as everybody's dude, everybody's favorite prime minister, can that overshadow something like that? Or is it a case by case basis? Or do we say if we can forgive this one, we forgive that one? Because some people were gunning for him. They were
They,
really gunning for him.
right, they were. And I don't know if this makes me a hypocrite. I think some situations it is case by case. I'm not gonna lie. I remember when that whole blackface thing came out, and I wasn't like angry at him. Like, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
mean I'm giving him a pass for doing it. I just took what he said. I'm not gonna lie, because I do feel like when it comes to racism, some people are just naive and damn dumb, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
realize what the hell is offensive. And I'm not saying it's okay. But I was just like, you know, like you were dumb and stupid at the time. Like you better the hell not do it now. You know,
Right.
whether I'm wrong for
And
that,
you
I
know
don't.
what? I can't say that I haven't said ignorant stuff about other races when I was young. I
Right,
was young and
right,
I was stupid and I generalized and I wanted to make my peers laugh
right.
and I wanted to sound whatever I thought I was sounding. And good Lord forbid we had these phones and social media back then, child.
We would all be messed up. I mean,
Right.
I feel like now, and I really do think twice before I post stuff on Facebook, because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, let's say all these things I'm working on does take off. I don't want anybody, oh, well, look what the hell she said.
Exactly. Oh,
Seven.
absolutely.
Look what the hell she said about little people. She called them midgets. Like, I don't want that to
Hmm.
happen to me. You know. But
Child, my poor husband was sitting here talking about, and he said, "Oh, the Munchkins." I
oh,
said, "Baby," I said, "What did
oh
you
my,
say?" But that speaks to my point
right,
that sometimes you don't know.
right.
I said, "Baby, you can't say that." He said, "Oh, for real?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Oh, I thought that's what they wanted." Because I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Because they said it in the movie."
But see, that's a prime example where, and I definitely don't want anyone listening saying, did she just say she forgave somebody for being a racist? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
No.
that's a prime example. Sometimes people don't know any better. And I'm not saying that makes it okay at all. I'm just saying some things I do pick and choose what I'm gonna be upset about. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I could be wrong. In
Right.
hindsight, I may think back on it and be like, girl, you was tripping. But as of
And I
today,
think it goes back to what you said, body of work. I
right,
think in Prime Minister Trudeau's case, we're not talking anyone else's case,
right,
you can make the case that whatever happened in college and whatever he thought in college, whatever he thought was fun or comical, he has grown past.
right.
You can tell that. You can tell that.
Correct. Because to my knowledge and what I know of him, if I'm wrong, someone can correct me. I don't know of any other racial incidents, racially offensive
Mm-hmm.
things that
Mm-hmm.
like I said, if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me. But to my knowledge, I didn't know of anything else, which I think why it was shocking initially. Because I
Right.
never heard anything else regarding him. So it is what it is now. But there's also been other situations where people have pulled up some racist stuff someone said, and I'm like, what? They said what?
Mm-hmm.
And blackface though is a controversial subject because a lot of people have had they don't know that it's offensive. And like I said, I'm not giving them a pass, but they really truly didn't do it out of malice.
Mm-hmm.
50th time. I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm just saying I have seen certain instances with these people where they're like, well, they don't know. They didn't know it's offensive. Just like you said, your husband didn't know like Munchkin obviously is not the correct.
Girl,
You
y'all forgive him. Please do not cancel him.
Exactly. Please don't cancel them. Exactly, because I mean sometimes people don't know. So
I'll give you another one, Michael Vick.
mm,
Michael
ooh,
Vick.
that is a good example. My God. Oh,
And we could even parlay that into can we not forgive black men?
mm. Oh, that's such a tough one because I'm one of the people, and it's funny because I've had conversations with one of my good friends who's a black male. I talk to him almost every single day, and we just talk about random things. Okay, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
if people knew the stuff that we talk about, they'd be like, "That's a series in itself." Like we talk about all types of stuff, and he don't mess with no Michael Vick. Like it's just like he can't stand him. And the funny thing with me is I like I moved past it. I'm not saying it's okay what he did, but I have moved past it. But then on the flip side, when people, like when they tried to put him on what's Hall of Fame or something, the Pro Bowl, whatever the heck had happened last year, and of course here came the people. I'm just saying,
Mm-hmm.
well, what about what he did to them dogs? I had literally forgotten about it, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that's okay, but I just didn't focus on it. So when they brought it up, you know, and then my friend, like I said, he can't stand them. So then I had forgotten about it, but then I'm reading through comments and people get really detailed. Well, he had did this, and I'm reading like, damn, he really did that too to them dogs. Like I didn't
But you
know.
know what the thing is? No, he didn't.
But that's the
It was his
thing.
uncle and his
But that's
cousin.
the thing. People won't let that one go. So it's just like that's a tough one too. And once again, we're talking body of work. So when people talk about, regardless if they want to give him an accolade, what was it they were trying to make him? What was it, the captain of the Pro Bowl team or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Last year,
Mm-hmm.
like,
And I mean, really, as far as accolades go, it's rather insignificant. You know what I'm
but that's
saying? Like,
like we're talking about his football career. So I don't know, but then on the flip side, I'm not gonna lie. You bring up O.J. Simpson to me, I ain't trying to hear nothing about what he did as a football player. I will admit,
true.
because to me, he
And
killed
see,
some
here's
people.
my thing, and that goes to me feeling like I value human life over animal. I'm sorry. Do I want animals to suffer? Absolutely not. Do
Right?
I think people should fight animals or mistreat them? Does it hurt my heart when I see it? Absolutely. But if it came down to saving my child and my dog, or my husband and my dog, or your child and my dog, I'm gonna save your child
Correct.
because human life means more to me than that. And so, yeah, when it comes to OJ Boo, you can go have a seat. And I
Correct.
think also everything Vic has done in the interim, it goes back to my point. When do we forgive? This man has done more for PETA than anybody who claims to be the most PETA person on earth.
And they
You
never
know,
that up. People never want to go to that. Or like even the same argument. One of my friends, when me and him was talking about it, like he'll just he didn't have a choice. It's just like, huh.
well, yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's like when
Yeah, he
you
did.
go. I mean, and like I said, I know that's a controversial one because we do live in a world where I feel it's to the point where animals are valued over human lives. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's a
Mm-hmm.
controversial one because a lot of people ride hard for animals. And like I said, I'm not against animals either, but same thing. I guess for me, it's different because I'm a mother and I've always
Mm-hmm.
said that. So I don't dislike it.
See, because my thing is some of these same people who don't want Vic to, be a captain in the Pro Bowl. Do you care about the guy at the Super Bowl who beat and dragged his lifeless girlfriend's body off of an elevator?
Hmm.
Can we say something about her?
And
About him?
but that's another thing. I think people pick and choose who they want to hold accountable for the past. I mean, NFL is a perfect example. How many of those men are playing right now who are freaking abusers? I
And they know it.
exactly. What is our boy? What is that? Ray Lewis who
hmm
have some people. It's just like
Right,
when
right. Let's talk about it.
right, and it's just like he an announcer. I didn't see anybody protesting saying, "Oh well, he don't have no
Why is he
business."
an announcer? He's
Exactly.
on TV like ain't nothing, nothing.
Thank you. Like no one even brings that up. So once again, I feel like we do pick and choose, and it all goes on what you believe in. But it's ridiculous. Like the whole cancel culture. Like I said, it just bothers me because I just feel like where do we where's the line that we need to cross but not
Mhm.
cross? You know what I'm saying? Where is it that where it's like, oh well, I don't care that he's an awesome football player. I don't care that she's a great journalist. I'm just they did something that I don't agree with, so I'm just not gonna deal with them again. It's just like, ew, like where do we decide when we're gonna how we're gonna judge this person? I guess because it's just ridiculous.
Mhm.
I don't understand how this has gotten to where it is now, but if I bear it back to Oprah, once again, I just feel like with us, we don't analyze the whole situation. We act on emotion. We act on being angry,
Mhm.
and we will straight up just cancel them. And we don't give them a chance. And every
And I'm giving the Sealy curse fingers to Atlanta. Until they do right by Michael Vick, they will never win a Super Bowl.
well, just down here in our minds in New Orleans, they never gonna win a doggone Super Bowl regardless.
Anyway, right, right. But
Right,
they did him wrong. As a city, they could have squashed some of that. As a franchise, they could have squashed some of that and they let him out to dry. And we can get into a whole thing about the NFL and how they do black players, in particular black quarterbacks, but don't get me started on that.
girl. If we start talking about
But
Colin Kaepernick, I'll be up all night.
okay,
you know,
okay. Or even the simple fact that the white quarterback who can throw for 50 yards a season will get paid and guaranteed and be done. The black quarterback who still throws for 300 some yards, 200 some yards, but may have, thrown a couple picks.
well,
Oh, they get released.
well, you know what? Since we're talking about canceling, let's bring this up for an example. Tim Tebow, was he not kneeling, even though he was
Hello.
praying? But when Cap did it, and number one thing that really pisses me off to this day about that whole Colin Kaepernick situation, which also let me say, I was riding for Colin Kaepernick before he started kneeling. And that's another thing,
Mm-hmm.
which maybe could be another episode. Sometimes we do a lot of dick riding. We do the bandwagon thing. I was
Mm-hmm.
riding for him
Mm-hmm.
before this, okay, before he became extremely woke. Okay, I was already
Right,
a Kaepernick
right.
fan. I always thought he was gorgeous. That's another story. But
Yeah,
when he
that's
did
another
that
one.
that body issue
But I
for
was
Sports
rooting for him,
Illustrated,
kind of on the side.
but when he did the body issue for Sports Illustrated, he had me at hello. But anyway,
Right.
when he started Neil,
And Vic too, while we talking. Woo.
right? But back to Cap in comparison with Tim Tebow, and this goes to like how, as a nation, people will cancel people. So when Tim Tebow did his kneeling, he was praying. It wasn't obviously met with the same disgust with Colin Kaepernick. Now, with Colin, the thing about it is, which amazes me, if anyone does their research, he kneeled because he spoke to a veteran that told him the
Mm-hmm.
respectful way to protest is to kneel. And if you do any
Mm-hmm.
research,
Mm-hmm.
that is a respectful way to protest the national anthem, which is racist. I'm sorry, it is
In and of itself.
it's extremely racist. It is to kneel. The worst disrespect would have been if he just sat around while they were singing it, but he kneeled respect.
Right.
And of course, the whole world vilified him. Now, mind you, I do feel like Tim Tebow. I do feel like he wasn't treated fairly. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they kind of dismissed him because he was talking
I
about
said the
God,
same
right?
thing.
Because he talked about God too much for this world, which is a shame. But he wasn't
Mm-hmm.
vilified, like Colin Kaepernick was. So
Right.
they kind of dismissed him in a respectful way. I guess is one way to put
Mm-hmm.
it. The
Mm-hmm.
Cap was just tossed out with the trash, and that goes to show how the world treats people too, because it's the exact same examples. But like I said, Tim Tebow, which I like I said, I don't feel he was treated fairly at all. I just feel like once he had his stance on abortion and prayer, things of that nature, it wasn't a popular opinion. So once again, this goes back to what we've also said about what happens when you don't have the popular opinion and how you get treated. So that shows an example of that too. He didn't have the popular opinion of this world, air quotes, and
Mm-hmm.
he still was dismissed in a respectful manner. Cap didn't have the popular opinion as far as this quote unquote this world who rise or die for that racist ass national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, once again, anybody listening, you don't have to like what I say. It's racist. If you do your research, if you Google that, it is racist. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And also his stance. Black people are still getting killed in the street like dogs. They're still getting policed, like the overseers that were looking out for slaves. We still get treated with no respect by our law officers. So he had every right to say what he said. Okay, it was
Mm-hmm.
just about the controversy and how we're killed, and the rates are alarming. But however, no one wanted to look at that. Oh, he's just disrespectful, blah blah blah. We had
Or he ought to be grateful. And see, it's that pompous,
mm,
look what we gave you,
yeah,
we are better than you
how dare you?
attitude that, oh God.
Right. And it's like, that's another problem. That's the world we live in. That's the route that we go. You know, um, Another thing I just thought about, and I want to stick with the culture, but I just want to bring up one more example that's kind of outside of the culture. Roseanne, remember when she made a very ignorant comment, I'm sorry, where she called,
Mm-hmm.
what's her name, Valerie, an ape or whatever, just totally stupid. You know,
And hers were recent. It was like the
exactly.
day
Like hers
before.
wasn't pulled from the past. She said that recently. But the funny thing is, which was so funny, how the hell you get removed from your own damn show. Like,
Girl. Girl.
she got dismissed from her own stuff. That's like if y'all try, it's like if everyone say, okay, we're gonna take Sharonda off the Q chat. Like, what? It's the not you chat right now because you said some stuff we don't like. But she was
Right,
wrong,
right.
and I think for once ABC got it right. But
Got it right.
to this day, like when I'll scroll comments, I can't believe, of course it's quote unquote her people. Oh, how did
Melanin challenge.
yeah, that was so wrong what they did, blah blah blah. Like really, you don't see what was totally unbelievably wrong with what she said? It's just like
And that's why I watch the Connors to this day. I want them to stay on beyond her and
right.
show her that it wasn't about anything else other than like, and it just broke my heart that the they have the young black girl
Mm-hmm.
as part of the cast, and you have the nerve to go and work, be in her face every day. Ooh, child.
Exactly. It's just like I don't know. And the funny thing is, when I say back in the 90s, I used to love that show. Okay,
Girl,
it came
who?
back for the revival. Oh my, because I thought that was a
Yes,
raw and
indeed.
real show. It showed a middle class family, just like when they had the episodes when Jackie was in an abusive relationship. That was stuff you didn't see on
Hmm.
television at the time, and I just thought raw and
Hmm.
real. So I was extra hurt when I heard about that mess. I was like, no, she didn't. Like the hell with her. And I don't ride for her, period. Now, I'm not going to lie. That was a situation where there's nothing she could ever say to this
She could,
day.
hello.
Right.
And truth be told, I wouldn't have been mad if the Connors were Trump supporters because it stood to reason with the type of family that they were. I
Right.
could see that
Right.
being true to them.
Correct.
So she could have lived vicariously through her character
Mm,
and been done with it.
right.
But, and I remember right before those comments, she was on Jimmy Kimmel.
Mm-hmm.
And, Jimmy was like, hey, some of the things you're saying, especially in support of Trump or whatever, do you think it'll impact the show? And she was like, I don't give a bleep,
She
or whatever. And, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, cool, girl. I give you that. Your opinion is your opinion. I was still willing to watch the show because, hey, we ain't got to like the same president for your show to be good.
right.
But, baby, when she did that, I said, see, my underlying Spidey sense said, you cannot be for that man and not be racist.
Right.
Like I knew it.
Right. She took it entirely too far. It was like, okay, we done. So I had to throw that
Hmm.
one in, but I want to barrel back to the culture. And you brought up something interesting. Like, obviously, we brought up the example of Oprah, and then we brought up the example of Michael Vick. So, even going back to Gail, now, of course, we touched on that way back episodes, further back when we said, why is it, Black women can't say things that a person disagrees with? Do you feel that with the whole cancel culture world that we live in, with Black women in particular, then I want to take it to Black men because you mentioned about Black men not being forgiven. With Oprah, of course, and with Gail, I felt like the people that were the angriest were Black men. So, do you feel like with Black women in particular, like, is it worse as far as the canceling from the opposite sex? Do you feel like Black men sometimes, and I hate to generalize like that, but obviously, come on, when the whole Gail thing happened, who did we think, who did we know of immediately that had an issue? It was Snoop. Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel
Boosie.
like it's just extra venom towards the opposite
I
sex?
just, oh, Black people, Black men, Black women. Um, it goes deep, but yes, I think it
Because
goes
I feel
deep.
like I
It
didn't
goes deep.
see, because I just feel like I didn't see as many women dogging her. Like, as far as the people that were dogging her, Oprah and Gail, I just felt like it just seemed like it was more males than women. And maybe correct
Hmm.
me if I'm wrong, but that was what I saw. It just sounded like it was more men.
I think it comes from an overarching issue of, it just feels like Black men are quick to say when Black women do this wrong, or oh, y'all don't do that, or y'all can't do this, and blah 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 blah. You know, but very hard pressed to be like, go sis, you did. I so it yes, the answer is yes, but not surprising because that's an to me that's an overarching and deep rooted issue. Um, and I was well, that's a whole I won't go there. I'll save that for another one.
Because I'm just trying to figure out, where does this stem from? Because the more I think about it, I'm like, why is that? You would think that our kings would be the main ones supporting us more, but I just feel like when we say something that, and I gotta say we, because I'm down for my sisters as a whole. I feel like when we just say something that people don't agree with, they're the main ones beating us, and vice versa.
Hmm.
Let's now with the Michael Vick situation. Now with him, I just feel like definitely with him, I feel like this white people in general just are totally done with him. Like, maybe I'm just
Hmm.
reading that, but just like I read a lot of comments last year when that whole Pro Bowl situation came up, and it just seems like it was more so them that were just like totally through with him. So with him, I think it's slightly different because once again, we are mentioning animals, and I just feel like, and this may be a really fucked up statement, and that's the best way I can describe it. I feel like with them, they value dogs more than Black people anyway. So,
Here we go. You're
you
right.
and it's a double whammy. He a Black male. They don't give a shit. So it's just like, yeah, we gonna cancel you and not ever let you come back from hurting these dogs. Like,
You
he don't
Black
have a
ass
chance.
man. And
Right.
then on top of that, he's dark.
You,
So
oh my
he
God.
never stood a chance.
You took my thought out of my head when I just said because he's a Black man. I thought about throwing out he's dark too, because unfortunately, and we got to do a colorism episode in the future.
Absolutely.
Dark.
Look, I just saw, girl, that and I'm a table this for that. But with the whole quarantine thing, someone shared a post. This guy says, "Attention, fellas, this is not a drill. Red bones, yellow bones, and light skins are bored, and they are answering DMs." I
Oh
said,
my
"Wow,
God. Yeah, we will definitely be doing a
wow."
colorism episode very soon, because that agitates me. But you brought up a good point. Let's even bring it to Oprah and Gail. What if that was Soledad O'Brien that said
Mhm.
something like that, or who may have done some reports that they didn't like? Hmm.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
like, people darker skin is just
Mhm.
always attacked, and I
Absolutely.
know that's a controversial one. A lot of people listen not ready for those comments, but I'm sorry. That's what I feel, and I feel that's a fact. I just feel like it's a little different, you know. And that's another thing we can dive into actually when we do the colorism. On the flip side, I feel like when a lighter skinned person says something that a person may not agree with, it's just like, well, you're not black enough anyway. And they just dismiss them and they don't even dive into
You're right.
it any deeper, But
Hmm.
with
And
Oprah,
and to your point, there are a lot of light skinned people who have led the movements. They really
yes,
have been leaders. So,
exactly.
some light skinned people will be darker than you, blacker than you, I guess I should say.
Right.
Underneath it all. Hmm.
I definitely feel that Oprah and Gail too, because they didn't fit a particular beauty standard, is what made the cancellation, I guess I should say,
Even more
more
pronounced.
correct. It was more venomous. It was more harsh. It was more just disgusting, you know,
Hmm.
because they didn't fit a particular beauty mold either. And
Absolutely.
I just, ugh, it just really is ridiculous at the end of the day, But like I said, the whole cancel culture thing is ridiculous. On the flip side, the fact that we can't agree to disagree because we're a hater. I just feel like sometimes we can't win at,
Hmm.
I mean, we gotta, and I know it's a strange situation because as a people, no matter what, we still gotta support each other. I get that, but we can just bring up even like for example, and this is lighter, but just like Tyler Perry, for example. I feel like he is such a controversial subject in a sense of black people because there's a group that they gonna like whatever he puts out because he does stuff for
Hmm.
us. But then there's, the logical group that's like, okay,
Uh,
um,
no.
this may not be good quality, you know, and it's like once again, you can't like for example, I like Tyler Perry because I respect the fact that okay, you're doing big things. I'm gonna give you that. Like I'm not gonna take away from that. As a person who I was an English major. I majored in English because I want to be a writer. I
Hmm.
analyze movies. I've studied film. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm one of
Hmm.
the group of
And
black.
stage over here.
Correct. Hello, I'm one of the group of black people who watches the Academy Awards every single year, whether people feel that we're
Hmm.
represented or not. I study movies. Am I gonna sit here and pretend that I feel like he puts out a good quality of work? No. I mean, does that make me a hater of him? No, because like I said, I will give him his respect 100%. I respect anyone that's quote unquote made it. But that don't mean I gotta like
Hmm.
your body of work. I mean,
Absolutely.
and I do feel like a lot of times his body of work misses the mark. That's
Hmm.
my opinion.
And it's like the teaser is like, okay. And then you watch it and you're like,
And once again, just like I said, I don't dislike every single thing he's done.
and that is true. No, I don't.
Like Good Deeds, I actually really like that movie.
Good deeds I got into.
Right, I remember
Hmm.
seeing that movie.
Family that prays. Hmm.
Right, I remember seeing Good Deeds and really enjoying it. The Family That Prays, now mind you, it was soap opera ish, but it still wasn't bad.
Right, right. Hmm.
Even A Fall from Grace. Now here's the funny thing, the memes number one. I think I want to just do an episode one day on memes because I love memes to death. They make me laugh like crazy. But the wigs, yeah, the wigs were insane. I don't care what anyone says. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. The wigs are ridiculous. But
Very ridiculous. And that whole I don't have time,
that's
sir,
not an excuse.
that's like part of making a film.
Right. Now,
Like, let's like if we're not at least doing that, that might answer a whole lot of other questions I got.
right. Now, like I said, I thought the wigs were crazy, but I gave him an A for effort over the fact that he tried to throw in a twist in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is another good topic with cancel culture and, just the whole hateration thing. Do you feel like, I feel like this. I think it's kind of disrespectful when someone produces things for an audience that is generally black people and they feel like, well, it's my people, so I don't have to make it perfect.
I can cut the corner.
Right. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's another layer actually into what we're discussing, because I feel like sometimes with us, some of our artists are maybe like, well, it's for my people, like they gonna ride for it regardless, so they don't so, you know.
So she can put that dollar store wig on.
Right. So, and I find that to be, that's not cool, and I just feel
Yeah.
like that goes into the whole, well, you just a hater if you point out the obvious. W- Why can't we point out, hey, this really isn't the greatest quality? And even
Mm-hmm.
though you are representing me, at least you're trying, you are doing this for my culture, for my community. Why can't I chastise you? Why can't I correct you? Why can't I point out
Mm-hmm.
this is how it can be better for us? That's not hating. That's saying I want you to give
No,
us the best. Okay,
absolutely.
what is your take on that? Because I really feel like that goes back into, well, if you say something you hate, no, we're saying we deserve better and we want better, especially if you flat out saying that your platform is for our people. Well, you better come with the best. That's what I want personally. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think, and I don't know if for Tyler specifically, he's gotten a little comfortable and he almost expects that what he does is going to be gold
Mm,
and he can cut the corner because of that.
mm,
Um, but I do feel like there's this inherent, and so much of this stuff can trace back to many moons ago. But I think there is this underlying, uh, I don't want to call it a desire, but a knack maybe to package it right for the white
mm.
and lack for the black,
Right.
and it's
Make it
okay,
make it right for
you know.
white, but take a step back
Mhm.
for black. Like, nah, we're
Mhm.
not.
Mhm.
No, because guess what? My money just as green as the white
Right.
people. So,
Now unless you're going to charge me 5 and them 8,
right. Thank you.
then you need to come correct all the way around. But yeah, I do feel like, that does occur.
Mm,
And and to that effect though, calling it out, it might sting a little bit, but you should get it together the next time. Because I really think his whole "I ain't got time to be doing that" was really more of a kind of a bite back.
mm,
You know what I mean? It was almost like a shoot. I'm making money. I got to do what I got to do. Y'all broke. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of feel like it was coming in that vein.
mm-hmm.
But okay, you felt like you were bitten, so you bit back. But take the constructive part of the criticism, and do better,
Right.
and do better,
And
because your people are asking for it.
right, and we deserve it, because at the end of the day, we are gonna support you to, what I'm saying? Like, we still gonna support you regardless, in a sense. Meaning, we gonna support our people that's trying to do something. I get it. That don't mean we gonna see every doggone movie you produce, but I'm saying we
Mm-hmm.
gonna give you that
Mm-hmm.
respect. You know what I'm saying? As far as support in that way, but we deserve the best, and it's just like, why not bring a good quality of work, and then on the flip side, if only in our culture, if we would just be able to take some criticism and not say, and I don't even need to say the word criticism, if we just can't take, oh, let me put it this way, constructive criticism. Say, well, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you could do a better job on just your production, on your editing, or, your stylist for your films in the future. That's not hating. That's pointing out a fact, because it is a fact. I mean, in that movie, there's a scene where, like, in A Fall from Grace, it's a diner scene where the two main characters are talking. You can see this man in the background pretending to eat, like he literally brings a fork to his mouth. There's no food on it. Like, what? You know, like, it's just, I don't think that's
Oh,
right.
girl.
You're not gonna see Steven Spielberg producing a movie, a Martin Scorsese producing a movie. And Martin Scorsese, he ride or die for his Italians. He has movies that that's like his audience. I mean, like that's the main focus of his films, like The Irishman, things of that nature, Goodfellas, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could tell I've been watching a lot of Netflix during this quarantine, you know.
Right.
But they're gonna put time into their work. That's any director, producer, anything in general. You're gonna take time, and it's just like, why are you rushing these body of works for us? Like, I just,
Girl, there's only one that might be worse. And I believe that was Clint Eastwood
mm.
directed. I'm gonna have to get it. But they used a baby doll. Girl, when I tell you that doll,
Was it the movie with Angelina Jolie? Was it that one? What movie was it where he used the baby doll and it was obvious?
I don't think it was Angelina.
Because I'm trying to think what movie it was. So I think I know what you're talking about. I just,
I believe oh, what's his name? I can see his face. One of my favorites too. Oh, Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix was in it, I believe.
I'm thinking now that's gonna rack my.
Girl, they even threw that poor baby around like it wasn't real. I was like, y'all can at least act like
I mean, but that's my whole thing. It's just like, but if someone points it out, you may be seen like you know, starting trouble or whatever.
hating on.
One thing I don't understand, and you know, like I said, I think that also goes back into the whole, if you correct, if we correct us, like I say, we correct us, well, we hating. But on the flip side, some of us don't hold each other accountable because we on this kick. Well, you know,
You don't want to look like a hater.
correct. You don't want to look like a hater. You want to conform, and you also, well, you know, that's our people. So I can't. You know, yes, you can. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can do it in a good manner. Like, what's the problem? You know, like I want good content. And like I said, once again, we deserve good content. So that's one thing.
And you don't want a yes man or a yes woman. You want, not, of course, you don't want somebody to just say something disrespectfully or hurt somebody's feelings for no reason or truly hate with the comment.
Right.
But, if you say it like, I think to say, oh, Fall from Grace was, pretty good. It was different for Tyler, with the whole twist and the thriller. But those wigs,
Were I,
I don't think that's hating.
correct. They were on a Iana level. Out of order. You know?
Oh no, beloved.
Yes, no, my
Not that
beloveds.
wig.
You know, what's it? Them wigs were gutter snipe quality. Like, I'm sorry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. You know,
Hmm.
so I'm happy we finally got this episode in. You know, like I said, I
Yay,
just,
we did.
because, oh Lord, because like I said, it's just something that needed to be done because the whole cancel culture, oh, if you don't like this, you a hater. And I definitely felt like we needed to have it because we, ironically, a lot of our episodes, we've both vibed and had the unpopular opinion. You know, we've had so much to the
Hmm.
point I'm like, damn, maybe I should have, before I got stuck on the Q chat, named it the Unpopular Opinion Podcast. Because, I mean, it is what it is, you know, so I just thought it was important. Do you have any lasting words or thoughts you want to say to round this out?
Keep having your own opinion, keep voicing it. Your voice does matter, contrary to what people may believe.
Right.
And try to be more forgiving. Try to see people as they were and as they are, and take into account, their entire body of work and have they, evolved past certain things.
Right. I definitely agree. My lasting thoughts are pretty much the same. You know, just look at a person's body of work. Also, put yourself in their position sometimes. If you made a faux pas or a
Hmm.
mistake, or if you said something that wasn't popular, would you really want your whole history, you know, your whole legacy to be based on your one infraction? Or would you want it to be based on all the good things you've accomplished? You know, and
Hmm.
I think,
Especially if that infraction was at 18, 17, 22. Lord Jesus, no ma'am.
right, exactly. And also, I want to say too, it's not always cool to conform. I just feel like a lot of times we don't want to stand
Yes.
out, you know. stand up instead of, stand up and stand down instead of standing with the crowd. Just be
Mhm.
yourself
Mhm.
and have your own opinion, whether it's popular or unpopular. Just make it a genuine opinion. Okay. I guess
Absolutely.
is my thing. And also with the whole hating portion, you can agree to disagree respectfully. Okay, doesn't mean you're a hater. You don't have to like every single thing that a person does.
Mhm.
It is okay to point something out within our culture. Okay, if you do it with a genuine heart because you're trying to help that person grow or be better and do better. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, despite what people may try to pressure you into
Mhm.
okay, because trust me, it's way better to have the unpopular opinion with a clean heart to say, okay, I think you should do better, and that person may end up having a better quality of work or just better actions as opposed to joining a crowd and liking mediocrity. There's no purpose in any of that. So
Mhm.
I'm glad we had
Mhm.
this episode because I have been dying to talk about this. And once again, we've begat another future episode. We're def- we will definitely
So we got one down, 12 more to go.
exactly like I said, I'm determined. We going into 2021 with no problem. So we'll definitely do that colorism episode down the line. Maybe I can get some more people to join us in that conversation, but
That'd be a good one.
sure.
Mhm.
So we definitely will be discussing that because that's another layer that, like I said, I like to do these episodes, as I said in my description to describe this whole Q chat. Yeah, it's geared towards women, but it's also for the culture. And colorism is something that still takes place amongst our people. And it's a conversation that definitely needs to be had. So that is going to be
Keep having it. Mhm.
definitely. So that is something that we will discuss in the future. So once again, whatever stage that you're in, whether you're a hater or if you're just a canceler or whatever you're at with this whole cancel culture, hating, whatever you're doing for the culture, just make sure you love yourself. But once again, don't conform. It's not necessary. Be yourself. Stand up and stand out. Way better than being in the crowd. So thank you for people that are tuning in to the Q Chat. Our listenership is growing since we are streaming on new platforms. So it's really exciting to see. If you have any questions, once again, you do not have to agree with everything Courtney and I say. We definitely will take people's opinions. Once again, just be kind. You can definitely inbox me on the pages. It also has email addresses for contact. You can definitely say, hey, I didn't agree with that. It's totally fine. Long as you're kind about it, I definitely am open to people's opinions. That's the whole beauty of having a podcast, is to hear people's opinions as well. So once again, go love yourself. Thank you guys for listening and subscribing. Thank you, Miss Courtney.
No problem. Happy quarantining.
Yes, everyone, wash your hands. And I'm not being facetious. I'm going to say that on every episode at the ending until this is over. Wash your hands and thank you for joining the Q Chat.